Futures jumped more than 3% Sunday after Israel struck two natural gas facilities in Iran, raising fears that the war will expand to energy infrastructure and disrupt supplies and the region. Now, U.S. crude oil rose $2.72, that's or 3.7% to $75.67 per barrel. Global benchmark Brent was up $3.67 or 4.97% at $77.90 per annum. Israeli unmanned aerial vehicles struck the South Pers gas fields in South Iran on Saturday, according to Iranian state media reports. The strikes hit two natural gas process facilities, according to state media. It's unclear how much damage was done to the facilities. South Pers is one of the largest natural gas fields in the world. Israel also hit a major oil depot in Tehran. In another development, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has announced plans to begin nationwide distribution of premium motor spirit and diesel from August 15, 2025. Company is deploying 4,000 brand new compressed natural gas power tankers to boost delivery capacity and improve access to fuel across the country. The offer, according to the statement released on Sunday, is opened to now marketers, petrol station dealers, manufacturers and telecom operators, aviation firms and other large-scale fuel users. Dr. Ayodele Oni is a partner, Bloomfield Law Practice, energy analyst and lawyer. Dr. Oni, thanks for your patience. I think I need you to start with this impressive jump we've seen in the price of crude, considering the escalating tensions between Israel and Iran.
Once there are rumors of war, even before that war, once there are rumors of
Dr. Oni, you can go on, please.
if there are rumors of war, rumors of hostilities in any country that produces crude, speak much less of even the regions. Once there's a regional challenge, prices can't go up or usually will go up because it means that the supply is constrained. So it's good news for us, particularly because we now domestically refine crude. It may not have been as much good news if we still had to buy finished products or refine locally and import into Nigeria. So it's net is positive for us.
Net is positive for us, but if Iran pulls through or follows through what they've been talking about, that's its threat, what do you think this might lead to moving forward? If there is so much increase in the price of crude, it might affect our pump price. And, you know, if that happens, that won't be a good one for Nigeria.
Oh, yeah. I mean, naturally, if the base price of a product that is to be refined increases, it's going to affect the finished product, right? You buy something for 2 naira, you spend 50 kobo refining. It's your 2 naira plus 50 kobo plus your margin that you will sell it, right? If it then goes to 5 naira, even if your cost of refining doesn't go up, it'll be 5 naira plus your 50 kobo of refining plus your margin. So once the best price goes up, it would affect. But there are ways we can edge, right? One, government works more on the... So answering your question, yes, prices will go up if it continues. But if government continues to enforce domestic crude supply obligation, it means even issues around transportation, insurance, ship to ship, those additional costs aren't there. So we would not feel it as much as elsewhere, countries that then also have to import finished products. We will feel it. Prices will increase at the pump, but the percentage will be quite what it would have been if we're still bringing it in. So government needs to ensure that they enforce domestic crude supply so that Dangote can buy more of his crude locally. government may then, particularly where pump prices go up substantially, if international crude oil prices go up, government may then begin to consider other fiscal alternatives, like maybe tax breaks for people so that they can have more disposable income, right? The private sector has improved, but there's a lot still to be done. If we can have 24-hour power or close to that, with states and subnationals being able to generate power, we'll buy less fuel. And at the end of the day, that impact won't be quite what it would have been. Of course, there'd be an impact, but there's so much government can do to ensure that it's not equivalent. The impact is not equivalent to the price change.
Now, JP Morgan is also coming up to speak around this and is saying that the price forecast at the moment before now was about $60 for 2025. I think that was the forecast. But if there's such a full-blown military conflict, they're saying that it could get to as much as $100 per barrel. How does that also come to you?
Yes. Yes, I won't be surprised because of the role, particularly in China, that Iran's oil plays. I recall that China is a guzzler, right? So the truth is that as long as you require crude still plays a critical role in energy security everywhere in the world. So yes, prices can go that high, and it then means that you have a substantial increase, almost 50% increase in that pricing. And if you have that over 30%, at least 30-40%, if you have that, it then means that you expect a corollary increase in finished products. Good for us in terms of our income. If you consider especially what the benchmark price is in the budget, it's good for us. It should reduce the propensity to want to borrow. However, government then needs to be able to think about actions to take, policy directives, policy actions to take to reduce the impact on the average person, because it's going to then lead to inflation and a number of other things. I'm not sure it would make our currency weaker. It probably even increase the strength of our currency, because the naira is going to be stronger without us receiving more petrodollars and dollar revenue. So it'd be a potpourri of the good, the bad, a bit of some of the ugly. But government must think of policies to reduce the impact of the bad and ugly. But yes, from an income perspective, will be good for us. But yes, you can't get to that amount as predicted.
If that happens, that will be so much money for Nigeria's economy, particularly as we look at our budget and looking at the benchmark rates for our budget this year. But do you see a truce? Do you see both coming to address this moving forward, or you think that this could really escalate, considering the interventions, even at the G7 summit? A lot of conversations will be around this ongoing conflicts. Do you see, say, a way out, a headway one way or the other?
Yeah, there could be a way out. And I say this because you recall that these hostilities have started since 1979, when you had the Islamic Revolution. Iran had always seen Israel as an enemy because of a number of issues, including, if you remember, the deposed monarch that Israel had a relationship with, and issues around westernization and a number of those issues. So there's always been that covert, there's always been Cold War between them and occasional disputes. So yeah, I mean, if they've been able to keep peace for this long, it means that despite the differences, right, it means that there always be a way forward. The G7, if everyone else rallies around, even the United States is quite interested, because they wouldn't want energy prices crude oil prices to go crazy, right? So everyone's going to do their best to see that it doesn't become a full-blown war, but you never know.
Now, I'm sure you've seen the news that Dangote Refinery is now wanting to supply products to big buyers. Let me first say, how does that come to you as an expert and player in this industry?
It depends on what side I stand. It moves out a number of middlemen, right? And for those middlemen, lots of revenue. But it then means that, particularly where they have the logistics capacity to do it, it means that reduced prices, because middlemen always add to the overall cost, right? But if it does do it, and is successful, it would then mean that whatever tensions you find in the Middle East and elsewhere in the Gulf, it won't be exact impact on us. If it's 100% change, it wouldn't be 100% change, because he can then reduce that margin, because he can be more profitable, but then reduce the overall cost the middlemen will have added to the entire cost of to the burner tip, to the final consumers like you and I. So it's good, and I mean could be bad depending on how you look at it, particularly for those who are going to be losing business.
That is my question
to you.
Jobs, yeah. That's why I'm going to ask my next question. We have guys that have invested in that value chain that's talking about the movement of petroleum products. We have guys from the major oil marketers, independent petroleum marketers, the NATO guys that owns all of the trucks and all of that. So you see, and you know, talking to some analysts, that issue of taking charge of the market, I won't use the word monopoly, comes in again, trying to take charge of the entire market space. Why not just keep refining while some other people make money from that other aspect of the business?
Yeah. I think that once Alhaji goes into a business, he wants to have as much as he can of the market share.
Yes.
I really can't blame him. The question is, what do our regulatory and legal regimes say? One, two, people should get rewarded for enterprise, right? However, our rules and regulations should also protect and ensure that there's no monopoly in the market. I don't think that he'd be able to sell to everyone. He said, I'm sure there'd be quantity limits and all of that, quantity caps and all of that, right? So there'll still be room for a few people. But for those who've invested, it becomes a challenge. I then begin to think, you know, when Mr. Todola was selling his company, I was thinking that there'd be more. He's got information many people do not have. You know, maybe it's just the right time to leave downstream petroleum, right? So I think that we need to go back to the law and look at issues around this. But I feel also that on the other hand, people should get rewarded for enterprise, which is what he's trying to do. Everyone else should do what downbeat to get more of the market. So it makes it more competitive, right? Yeah. So let people invest if they want to invest and compete with him. That's the way I see it. Why is the regulator look into it too?
So you what do you see the outlook for the market in 1 minute?
Well, I think that it's a great thing that we can now refine. I think that we'll have more petrodollar in the next, say, a month or more. You know, we didn't benefit the last time. Saudi and a number of countries did benefit substantially.
Yes.
And that's why they began to invest in other sectors. I think this time around we would benefit and be able to invest in infrastructure and social safety nets. I expect that the government will do that, and maybe we'll see tax some tax relief from the government, depending on how that dispute goes. If it becomes a full-blown war and prices go high, then government may need to do something, take steps.
Dr. De Leon, I must thank you so much. Energy analyst, thanks so much for your patience. I really appreciate you joining the program this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a great one.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, then we have